What's going on, Guardians? Tizzle here. In today's video I'm going to go over one of the strongest builds in the game right now. I wanted to get this video out before the end of the season as Revenant Hunter is very likely to get nerfed. So if you just want to embrace the chaos and spam abilities for cheesy kills, I will show you how to get the absolute most out of the toolkit at the Revenant Hunter's disposal, and what a powerful toolkit it is. I will break down the perks you want to be using to maximize your ability spam. This build is very cheesy, and if you play a lot you probably know all these tips and tricks already. But if you're a newer player and don't understand how you're getting killed by Glacier Grenade wombo combos in every Crucible game you play, I'll break down how to do it to max effectiveness, as well as how to use the Revenant Hunter to its max potential. So first off, you want to be running Gambler's Dodge. This dodge allows you to gain a melee charge when you dodge near an enemy. This subclass gives you 2 shurikens in its toolkit. A hit with 1 blade can slow the enemy, and hitting with 2 blades can freeze enemies. As well, these shurikens can bounce off walls and other players to tag multiple people. They are extremely strong. For the jump, I was running triple jump because it's what I'm used to, but strafe jump is great in PvP, and high jump will allow you to get up quickly for a Glacier Grenade wombo combo. We already touched on the Withering Blade, so the last ability we have is the Glacier Grenade. If you don't know, these grenades can freeze enemies in place, and then you can use a Shatter Dive to break the crystals and kill any enemies around the explosion. This combo is extremely strong and effective, and when used properly has very little counter to it. Shatter Dive has no cooldown. It does 50 damage on a hit, so you can use it to clean up a shotgun shot. It is also great to use to get back into cover if you're up in the air, particularly after casting your super, and it gives you damage resistance when using it. Next we have Winter Shroud, which allows your dodge to slow enemies when you dodge near them. The slow is strong on its own, especially when paired with Mask of Bacchus, but as we mentioned earlier, if you run with Gambler's Dodge, you can freeze opponents by dodging near them and then hitting them with a shuriken. For fragments, you want to run Whisper of Shards and Whisper of Fissures. Whisper of Shards boosts your grenade recharge rate after shattering Stasis crystals. This is a substantial increase, so if you want to spam Glacier Grenade wombo combos, you definitely want to run this. As well, it gives plus 10 resilience, which is always nice. And then you have Whisper of Fissures, which increases the size and damage of the burst of crystals. This is how you get those crazy multi-kills. For the exotic that ties this whole build together, I'm running Frosteez. If you don't know what these do, their exotic perk is called Rapid Cooldown, which increases grenade, melee, and dodge regeneration while sprinting. Also, dodging increases your sprint speed, so if you play quite aggressively and sprint a lot, you will have your abilities up almost all the time. I also have high energy fire on these to give my weapons an increase in damage whenever I pick up an orb of power. On the cloak, I'm running Powerful Friends. It has a perk that allows nearby allies to become charged with light when you become charged with light, but the main reason for running this is the secondary perk, which gives you plus 20 mobility. You have to run an arc mod to activate this, so I'm running Outreach, which reduces your melee cooldown when using your class ability. It's just another thing that allows you to have 2 shurikens up at all times. With Powerful Friends, I'm running 70 mobility, which gives me a dodge every 19 seconds, and I'm running a lightweight shotgun in the 7th Seraph CQC, which gives a hidden 10 mobility. And with the sprinting from Frosteez decreasing all your ability cooldowns, you basically always have a dodge ready. For the rest of my weapon loadout, I was mainly running Hawkmoon because I love how it feels and I am new to PC and want to get good with hand cannons. But you could also run weapons with perks like Wellspring or Demolitionist or Traveler's Chosen to get your abilities even more often. But with the synergy in this build, that is definitely not needed. On long range maps, I would switch to Succession and Stars and Shadow with Surplus. Any surplus weapon is also great in this loadout because of the amount of uptime you have on your abilities. And weapons with surplus when all 3 abilities are charged are actually very strong. My Stars and Shadow Pulse Rifle hardly moves when I shoot it, and it feels snappy and has great reload speed. Definitely not a perk to overlook. Lastly, for heavy, you can just run whatever. I run Bequest because I love how it looks and it's fun to try to get clips with swords. For the last few pieces of armor, on my helmet I had double hand cannon targeting and taking charge so that I can become charged with light by picking up an orb of power, as well as a discipline mod. On the arms I have fastball so I can throw the Glacier Grenade down quicker. This is actually pretty beneficial for getting the wombo combo off as quickly as possible. As well, I had a hand cannon loader and discipline mod. A couple other potential mods to run on the gloves would be Impact Induction on solar gloves. This reduces your grenade cooldown when causing damage with your melee ability, or Momentum Transfer on arc gloves, which reduces your melee cooldown when causing damage with your grenade. Both are great and can be very beneficial for having maximum uptime on your abilities. Lastly, we have the chest piece. The most important mod we are running here is Radiant Light. This allows nearby allies to become charged with light when you cast your super, but much like Powerful Friends, we are running this for the secondary perk, which gives us plus 20 strength. This allows my build to have tier 7 strength, which is a 58-second cooldown. That's still pretty long, but if you're using Gambler's Dodge properly and sprinting lots to gain the benefits from Frostees, this cooldown will be much lower. One thing to note is that Outreach on the cloak also activates Radiant Light, so you only need to run one arc mod to activate both secondary perks. This is important because the chest piece doesn't have great arc abilities, so it allows me to run Unflinching Hand Cannon Aim and a Discipline mod instead. So that is it for the build. As mentioned before, everything in this build is all about spamming your abilities as often as possible. I found when I was using this build on long range maps I could switch to a pulse and a sniper and still feel fine if someone rushed me because I could use the Glacier Grenade wombo to defend myself at close range. And on small range maps I would run a hand cannon and shotgun and just play normally, and then if enemies were grouped up you could try to make a play and get multi-kills with the wombo combo. Here are a couple clips that show just how effective pairing Frosteez with Whisper of Shards can be. I throw my grenade at 9 minutes and 29 seconds in the match, shatter the crystals, and then never stop sprinting. You can see the grenade regenning super quickly from the improved ability regen perk on Whisper of Shards and the rapid cooldown ability from Frosteez. Literally 14 seconds later at 9:15 I have another grenade ready to go and I pull off another wombo at 9:07. 2 Glacier Grenade wombo combos in just 22 seconds. In this next clip I do the exact same thing. I throw a grenade and wombo and then sprint around until the grenade is recharged. As you can see from the timer on screen, it only takes me about 13.5 seconds to get my grenade ability back. You can also see my melee ability recharging very quickly. I was honestly shocked at how quick this was. So as you can see, you can literally spam Stasis abilities with this build if you spec everything out properly. Just beware that you might get some hate mail and get teabagged. A lot of people really seem to hate Stasis and what it has done to PvP. I think it is pretty clear that over the last year, Bungie has really made an emphasis on ability usage, and by giving us mods like High Energy Fire which work in PvP, you can do some really silly stuff. One-hit grenade launchers with proximity grenades is just one example of a very powerful gun in PvP. Or two-tapping with Ace of Spades when you have Memento Mori and either High Energy Fire or an Empowering Rift or Inertia Override or Whisper of Hedrons or any other damage buff. This is extremely strong. And I think it goes to show that Destiny PvP is not so much about the guns anymore. And that may bother a lot of people, and rightfully so. I know I get very annoyed when I jump into PvP because I want to try a new primary weapon and it is almost impossible to get into a 1v1 gunfight, especially in 6v6. As toxic as this build is, I did have fun trying to hit the clips with it. And I also enjoyed how everything synergized so well, and how I was always trying to take advantage of my abilities. It was fun to play around a certain playstyle. So if you're one of these people who is rightfully frustrated at the state of PvP, try coming up with a strong cheesy build instead and just go for clips. It made the game much more enjoyable for me, to just embrace the chaos that currently is Stasis in PvP and just abuse it rather than get angry with it. And if that doesn't sound like your kind of fun, then maybe take a break from Destiny for a while and go play a different game that's more centered around gunplay. There's lots out there. If you have a favorite build that is centered around playing a certain type of way, please feel free to drop it in the comments. The build crafting is what I find fun in this game. When builds actually became a thing in Destiny, it is what inspired me to start creating content, because I just love making fun new ways to play. And I would love to try out new builds that maybe I haven't thought of. If you are like me and also love to make cool builds, consider subscribing. I don't make videos as often as I would like as life is pretty busy, but I have a ton of great builds that I have yet to get in video form, so if you don't want to miss out, be sure to hit the bell so you catch all my future builds. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that you try this build out for yourself. If you made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.